Hey everyone, this is Frugal Panda here. I wanted to do a video in terms of Lincoln, Nebraska. So as you know, I said in my last video, I went to Omaha. I went to Omaha, Nebraska and Lincoln. I had never been there. I've driven through them. I think I have anyway. I'm sure I had going back to Indiana. I'm sure I did, but I never stopped there or did anything there. Anyway, I just wanted to check it out because, well, why not? It's within 6-7 hours of Denver, where I live. I live technically in Aurora, Colorado. Lincoln's a city of about 269,000 people. Of course, it's known for the University of Nebraska, which is there. Huge Division I football powerhouse, basically. Especially if you follow college football, it's a big deal. The Huskers are a big deal back there. I'm from Indiana. It's the same there. We got Notre Dame and all that stuff. It's the same about Indiana. So I know about the Midwest. I grew up there. But a disclaimer before I say what my thoughts on Lincoln is I'm coming from the viewpoint of, one, I live in Denver. Two, I grew up in Indiana in the Midwest, but also I grew up in California, and I spent a lot of my teenage years in California. It was also one of my duty stations, stuff like that. I've been a lot of places in California and stuff like that. So it's coming from my perspective that, and on top of that, I've been a lot of different places in this country and, internationally. So this is no disrespect to anybody who lives in Lincoln or is from Lincoln. So my initial impressions of Lincoln when I got there, I thought it was a cute little city. I did. It didn't seem like there was 269,000 people there, but obviously there is. That's what it says. It's very close to Omaha. I can't remember exactly, but I want to say it took us maybe an hour and a half to get there. It wasn't that far away from it. So the whole plan was to come from Denver. Of course, you're going to stop in Lincoln because Lincoln's before you get to Omaha. So we spent about 2 days in Lincoln. I went different places. You had the garden. I think it was called the Sunken Garden. We did a couple trails. Of course, we went all around downtown, walked all over downtown. Downtown was cute. Some areas probably needed to invest a little bit of money in it. Went all over University of Nebraska. I love looking at colleges. And my personal opinion of Lincoln, I probably won't ever go back there. And it's not that I had no issues with the place. People were friendly, super humid. Like if you know anything about, the Midwest, a lot of Midwest is humid. Was it as humid as Indiana? No, but it was humid for someone coming from Denver who spent a large part of their life now, 10 years at least in Denver, and used to that dry heat versus that humidity. Diversity-wise, because people always are curious, well, is it diverse? Yes, it was diverse. And I believe, I would guess, I saw quite a few people downtown that I would guess were either Sudanese, maybe I would guess Sudanese backgrounds or so, that this was at one point or has a fairly large immigrant population. I'm guessing refugees from like war-torn areas, stuff like that, because I saw quite a few people there. But it was fairly diverse. No, it was diverse by Midwest standards. Did I feel uncomfortable anywhere? No, I didn't feel uncomfortable anywhere there. Very green, like the Midwest. People have this weird thing about Denver. They think we're super green and stuff. No, we go through heat waves and stuff. Your grass will dry out here. It was uber green there compared to here. The drive in there kind of bland, then you start getting some areas and it'd be kind of cute. A lot of water everywhere. That's what I always forget. There's little pockets of water, little lakes, ponds everywhere along the drive. So the drive was fairly pleasant. It has certain areas, and that includes coming out of Colorado, because that eastern side of Colorado is, eastern side of Colorado. It's just ugly. Let's put it that way. It's flat land. It's not really ugly. It's just flat land. Comparing Lincoln to Indiana, where I'm from, Marion, Indiana, Indianapolis, those areas, very similar in a way, except for Indiana's a lot flatter. Nebraska's got a lot more hills and stuff, and then you got the big lake, the big rivers and stuff like that, even though we have rivers back there. But just the vibe, it just reminded me a little bit of Indiana in regards to that. And the reason I say I wouldn't go back there is it has to do with my experiences. So let's compare. Okay, we'll compare Lincoln to Boulder, Colorado, because I love college towns. When we look to move possibly in the next 5 years or so, I want to move towards an area that has a college town, because it's It's not even just about diversity. It's more so about just open-mindedness. Relax. It's more. It just seems more relaxed. It's just a different vibe than say moving to a manufacturing town. And so I really wanted to check out Lincoln. I actually was more interested in Lincoln than I was in Omaha because of the huge university there. Because I don't care what you say about anywhere. It could be Mississippi, it could be North Carolina, South Carolina, whatever, Iowa. The areas where there's a large university at, a lot of times the culture there is a little bit different than the actual state itself, whether that state has, a good vibe to it, is forward thinking, things like that, or it's not. That university town is usually the leader in that. They got, all types of stuff. You want to go to a place for, oh, we're going to go to this bar. They do poetry and, organic lattes or something like that. They're going to have it. They're going to be there. Someone's already created it, or alcoholic cakes, while you're listening to jazz music, whatever. They got that type of stuff. So comparing it Boulder to Lincoln, you'll see with the two, the problem is the area. The area. It wasn't ugly at all. But when you compare it to Boulder, if you've never been to Boulder, Colorado, I recommend going to Boulder, Colorado. And the reason I say go to Boulder, Colorado, it's surrounded by mountains. It's beautiful. Right down the street is Estes Park. It's got this good vibe. Now, the difference between the two, though, was one, cost of living, of course. Boulder is a lot more expensive than Lincoln. But also the homeless population. There's a large homeless population. But homeless populations a lot of times move towards areas that have benefits and also just the lifestyle, how it is. People don't just move to California to be homeless just because it sucks. No, they go there because of the beach and the climate and, just the whole vibe of it. And some people don't go there actually in intentions of being homeless. It just happens because certain areas, it costs a lot to live. Boulder's an example of that. Lincoln itself was not an ugly city. I would say I would recommend it to someone starting out, starting over. You got kids, you're a young family, or you're an older family, but you got kids and you want a better life. I would recommend Lincoln for that. And the reason I recommend that, reason I would recommend that to people like that is this. In the Midwest, in those type of cities, is the cost of living a little high there? Yes. Is it Denver high? No. We walked past the areas that were the expensive areas, and the house was like $400,000 or $500,000. Yeah, you got the areas around the university. Some of them are kind of expensive, that type of stuff. But can you still get something affordable in Lincoln or in the proximity of Lincoln? If you worked in Lincoln, say, and you drove a little bit out to the rural areas, country areas, the smaller towns, whatever. Yes, you can. In the Midwest, the thing about it, if you're willing to work and you got a decent work ethic, and say you got kids, you got a spouse, you can make it. You can really make it. You just got to work. That's it there. Versus Denver, versus Boulder. So, like I compared it to Boulder because they're both university towns. One's University of Colorado, one's University of Nebraska. Boulder costs a lot of money. You ain't gonna live there. You in Estes Park right up the street. Dude, anywhere people come into town to go elk watching, or they come in town to stay at the Stanley Hotel where The Shining was, and you got this cute little downtown. I'm talking about Estes, right down the street from it. It's not gonna be cheap. And we got stuff like that out here in Colorado. And it's not just here, oh yeah, check out this and check it. Nah, it's all over. It's all over. So the cost of living there is expensive. So you could come out here with a good work ethic, and if say you don't have the real skill set or the right education, and struggle. You can struggle. But I believe in Nebraska, in those smaller cities such as Lincoln, well, they're all not very large. Lincoln, Omaha is bigger, of course, in the metro area, stuff like that. You can still make it. You can, okay, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna get a job, whatever. You wanna be, I saw the signs I was saying in Omaha and all those places for the correctional officers. $20 an hour, $10,000 sign-on bonus. You can live pretty well whether you got a family or you're single. You go work as a CO, your spouse works part-time, wherever. And you're gonna do okay. You're gonna have his and her cars, you're gonna have a decent little house. You're gonna thrive, not survive. And that's the thing you have to be careful in Colorado, in the Denver area. Denver area, Colorado Springs area, Boulder area, all the areas people wanna live. You have to be careful and you have to have a realistic perspective of how you wanna live out here. Because if you don't really think about it that well out here, you can starve out here. You can be homeless so easy because the cost of rent, the possibility of not even owning a house. Out there, I looked downtown, I was curious because I was like, maybe I want to buy a condo here. Because they had condos. I saw these condos downtown. So I had, right away, get on in Lincoln, get right on Zillow, look at it. $100,000. I think it's at least 750 square feet. It was 100 G's. 100 G's is nothing from where I'm from. Let's put this back to where I'm at. And this is a condo in downtown. This is a smaller city, but it's still a city of 268,000 people. I don't know what their metro area looks like. I would guess their metro area, surrounding little towns. If you take away Omaha and its little piece right there, 350,000 people, maybe 400. I could be wrong, but that's what I would guess. Still decent size. It's going to have all the amenities you want. Let's take my house. This house. I bought this house that I'm in right now 2 years ago. It would be 2 years in September. I paid $445,000 for this house. It's a 3-bedroom, unfinished basement. I'm trying to think my square footage. Like 2,300, I think it is. 2,400 square foot. And the backyard is tiny, right? It's a 2006 house, so it's fairly new. $445,000 is what I spent on this house. Not even September yet, so I haven't even had it 2 years. It's already estimated at, get this, guys, $590,000 to $602,000. Let me say that again: $590,000 to $602,000. That's insane. And I'm not complaining because I own this house. Oh, but I would be complaining if I didn't own this house. So that's what I'm trying to show you is like the difference between here and Lincoln. Lincoln is not, the housing prices are not going up there because they are, but they're nowhere near this. Nowhere near this. $600,000, what would you get in Lincoln? Or no, let's take even Lincoln out of the picture. What would you get just going a little bit outside the city? Right. So I'm going to recommend this place to people starting out, people wanting a new life, someone who wants to go somewhere that's a professional. If they're offering a really decent wage down there where you're able to save money and maybe get down there, stack some money and, maybe move somewhere else you want to live, or you want to live there. It's whatever you want to do. But it's not, I don't think it's a survival city. I think it's a thriving city for someone with just a work ethic. I really do. Is it for me? No, it's not. If I was in a different place in my life and I had kids and I had to say, I have a good work ethic, but I had a good work ethic and decent skill set. Oh, I'd rock it. I'd go out there and I already know I punch way above my belt out there. You just punch, okay, just go out there, be a welder. And it's not a knock on welders if you're a welder or whatever, but go be a welder, work some overtime. You'd probably be driving around in a $60,000 truck, just for example, if that's your thing, with about $10,000 in upgrades, because you can do it, because your properties or your rent or whatever, if you own or whatever, is nothing compared to other places. Try and do that in Denver. You got to hustle. So I say Nebraska, I say Lincoln is that type of place. It's a type of place, if you got good financial, you're fairly financially competent and you got a good work ethic, you can thrive out there. It's the type of place that you can live a good life, I believe. And it's the type of place, if you use it as, say, your base operations for traveling, as long as you kept your finances in order, you could take off all the time and go places because you're not getting ate up in bills like here. Bills that eat you up here if you don't have the right skill set, and just don't have the right, jobs out here. It's not unusual people work 2 and 3 jobs out here just to survive. Areas like that, in Indiana example too, you work 2 or 3 jobs a lot of times, dude. You probably have a farm, or something like that. You living on like 40 acres and stuff, practically have a farm. I met people in Indiana, they're 25, 26 years old. And I use welder as an example. One dude was a welder. He was like 25 years old, went to high school, got a certificate while he was in high school. Dude had like 20 acres out in the country, had a little house, had everything. He'd go and get off work, go ride his 4-wheelers, go fish in his little pond that he had stocked every year. Dude was like 25, 26 years old. Was he surviving? No, he was thriving. So with Lincoln, like I said, the downtown was cute enough. Like I said, in some places they needed to put some money in the downtown, but it was okay. The food, it was Midwest food. There was nothing big about it. And someone got on here, oh, you didn't go here, you didn't go. Dude, I didn't go to Nebraska to go eat sushi in Nebraska. Someone always wants to tell me that, hey, you didn't go to this place. Like I said, I've been a lot of places. I've been to Japan. I've been to different places in Asia. I don't go to the Midwest to eat sushi and stuff like that. I want to eat the local foods. I want to check out the local foods. I want to do my pork tenderloins. Where I'm from in Indiana, we taught y'all in Nebraska how to do it. Things like that. Stuff like Midwest versions, Southern versions of fried chicken, of other stuff, Midwest types of food. So I went to the restaurant. Nothing wrong with the restaurants. They cool. They worked. I didn't do anything what you call exotic, like I said, like sushi or more Asian food. No, because I didn't go there for that. That's not what I want. I went there for that. I got 1,001 of those restaurants in Denver, and I don't even hardly go to them here. I go to them here and there. Most of the time I hit those type of restaurants is when I'm on the Pacific Ocean. So I'm in California, Washington, or Oregon. That's where you get it, and there's a huge difference between there and here. It's the closest thing I've gotten to like getting sushi in like Japan and stuff like that. And it's not a knock on it. I get it. You don't explain yourself to me in regards to, I'm not knocking your places to eat or anything like that, but there's certain things I'm looking for when I'm on vacation. I don't go there to eat a Burger King either, So, yeah. So, like I said, to me, I believe it was diverse enough. I think the cost of living for someone starting out, wanting to start a new life, young family, an older family that wants to slow things down, someone that wants to get on their feet, you got the work ethic, I think you'll do okay in that area. Is it a place to raise kids? I say yes. I think if you work hard and you investigate things enough to get your kids in the right school, same as Denver. You can live wherever you want to live, but when you got kids, you got to try and make sure you get them in decent schools, because you put them in underperforming schools, you're fighting against a lot of things. Peer pressure, everything, low expectations within the school, low expectations among a lot of people that live in that area or go send their kids to that school. Not everybody, a lot. I've always believed in, try and find the best schools for your kids. I'm not necessarily talking about private. There's so many good public schools, and do what I need to either buy in that area, transport, whatever I do, so they're around those who help push them towards whatever, getting a skill set, going to college, something like that, where there's not that low expectations. But beyond that, is it a place to raise kids? I would say yes. Stay active, keeping your kids active, being in their lives, stuff like that. Because one thing you have to be careful in the Midwest is opioids, meth, heroin. I'm from Indiana. I went back in 5-6 years ago. And just a year in between the place I'm from, I went to this old cheap motels, one of the ones you pay in cash. It was cheap, but it was clean, it was easy. And I remember coming out I got there late, and I got up that next morning. I stood outside and I looked around, and there was people out with stuff all over their face, a young lady with a baby, stuff all over her face, no teeth. And just how quick my community had changed. It blew me away. And needless to say, I canceled the rest of the days and went to a Holiday Inn there, but it was bad. This Christ. So that's the thing that's the only thing to be mindful of, is that making sure you're keeping them things and, stuff like that. But it's a thriving place. And like I said, I am not knocking Lincoln. I've just been other places. I've been a lot of places. If I compared it to Boulder, there's no competition. Boulder is that spot, but Boulder's that spot, and you can see that in regards to how much it costs to live there. But it's not the regular Midwest, and that it's cute. It's right down the street from Omaha. If you commute to Omaha and get a little bit more money, drive back, whatever. If you're in healthcare like me and my spouse, out there, you doing it up. You doing it up. It's hard to recruit people out here in healthcare. It's even harder in the Midwest and to even get people to stay in healthcare. What I would do if I was in healthcare, nurse or whatever, is I would live in Lincoln, commute to Omaha, because usually we get like 3/12s. We work 3 12-hour shifts and have 4 days off. Commute to Omaha, get that Omaha money and come back to Lincoln. Yeah. I would live in downtown Lincoln, to be honest with you. Without kids, I'd be in downtown Lincoln living. Me and her being a cool little condo or something. I did dig Omaha's downtown. Anyway, I hope this helps somebody. Do I recommend going and visit? Yes, I do. Will I go back? No, I won't. I say that, though. Doesn't mean I won't. I'll stop there on my way to Omaha. There's a potential I'd go back to Omaha. I'd go back to Omaha. Omaha is a place to go relax for me personally. If I went by myself, I'm taking my bike or I'm taking my electric scooter with me. I dig the downtown. The downtown's cool. I like it. I really do. I like it. Oh, one thing you will not see as much of as you will see out here, of course, is, I don't know if I said this already, homeless people. So there's not as many homeless people there. It's hot out there, dude. It's hot out here, but it's a dry heat. I don't know if I could be homeless in like Lincoln or Omaha. You know what I mean? That humidity, man, I'd probably be in jail. I'd be fighting people and fighting shadows and fighting everything because it's just hot. That's fighting weather, because you can't get away from it. It'd be humid in the shade. That's why I be trying to tell people, you don't find them when it's like that. Yeah, you'll find them because Seattle and stuff like that can get humid, but it also rains and overcast a lot, and it gets kind of chilly too. That's why you don't find as many homeless people. It's hard to be homeless out there, man. You be burning up all the time. It's humid like a sauna. And you outside all the time. You ain't hiding in an air conditioner, so you don't see the homeless people as much there. A lot of junky cars. People riding around in junky cars with loud mufflers. That's a lot of places. And I'm from the Midwest. That is so normal. Dude, you could buy a car for $600-700. If I went home, it might be rusted all to death, but I would go home. If I wanted a little commuter car, I'd get a little beater Honda Civic for probably $1,000, $1,200. They're all over the place. So you hear all these loud cars, and then you got all the teenagers get these little cheap cars and take the mufflers off to make them sound loud and fast. That's nothing. That was nothing. But as far as the people go that live in Lincoln, the people that live in Nebraska themselves, in the areas I was in, they were kind, they were nice, they were polite, didn't feel any stares on me. Is there like that in some of the small towns? Yes, same as Indiana. Could you walk in a place, say if you're in an interracial relationship or you look different than people in there? Is the possibility someone may stare at you or two may stare at you? Yeah, there's always the possibility. But to be honest with you, most of those areas, nobody wants to live there. That's just the truth. No one wants to live there. And I don't really want to visit them, most of them. Any place that's getting tourist money, they're going to be polite to you. They're going to be nice to you no matter how you look different, your complexion's different, you're a same-sex couple, things like that. They want your money. So to get your money, they need to shut up. And the areas that would be like that, well, they ain't got no money because no one wants to go there. So they be angry at themselves, not at people for being different. Anyway, Lincoln people, don't take this as any type of disrespect or anything. I think you got a cute little city. I'm just in a different place in my life. You want to work? Just have a little bit of motivation, just a little bit there. I think you'll do great. And honestly, I did think about like Omaha. I was like, dude, we can come down here and kill it. My lady's a federal employee. I'm a state employee. I'd go out there and work for the state, out there. And I was like, oh man, we could kill it out here. I mean, literally, I only got one kid in the house. He got about 4 or 5 years, so he's done with high school. So we move anywhere we want to move. We got this house right here that we're gonna rent or either sell. We're gonna make a killing on it. I was like, we can come out here, man, and live it up, and just travel, and just literally just get us a cool condo downtown, and we like to internationally travel and road trip it. We go everywhere. Just have money, just stacking money. So maybe it might be something for somebody to think about. All y'all thinking about coming to Denver? I'm not someone going to tell you, don't come here. We don't need any more of you. No. I'm a transplant myself. Have a plan out here, man, because it's cool. You'll get here and you get wowed. And then I've seen so many people come out here and just not make it. They get out here and they realize they can't make it. I've seen quite a few people from Nebraska, Iowa, the Midwest come out here and they ain't surviving. They ain't doing nothing. Okay, yeah, you can go to some cool trails and all that, but what's that mean? You ain't putting no money away. And they end up a lot of times going home. And the community can be a little distant out here too, because so many of us are transplants too. We're doing our own thing. So it's not going to be like, say, Lincoln. If you're from there, you get into the community there, whether it's church or religious preference or some type of clubs and stuff, where you probably have a lot more community right there with people. And, people maybe invite you over for food or, dinner, or you start hanging out with folks in your neighborhood. Stuff like here, you have a chance in Denver and a lot of people have talked about this of not even really knowing your neighbor. I've owned 4 houses out here. I've known one of my neighbors at one of the houses. If you put me over a fire right now, my feet over a fire right now, I couldn't tell you who my neighbor is on my right side or who my neighbor is on my left side. I couldn't even tell you. Wow. That's pretty sad, isn't it? Something to think about. Anyway, this is Frugal Panda. That's my thoughts on Lincoln, Nebraska. Cute little town, city, university city. A little bit of work ethic, you can do okay. It's all right. It was her first taste of the Midwest. She had never been. I never take her home to Indiana. I don't want to get laughed at from where I'm from. I'm from a blue collar town. So I said, oh, what's the best place? I didn't want her first experience of the Midwest to be where I'm from in Indiana. And where I'm from was where the last public lynching was. It's a manufacturing town, and manufacturing is important, but it's a semi-dying manufacturing town. The population has slowly been going down. It's got decrepit areas, lot of poor hood areas, real hood areas, real trailer park areas. I didn't want that to be her first experience of the Midwest. And she didn't want to go to the Midwest the first time. I mean, when I was trying to get her, she's like, I want to go to Nebraska. I said, come on. And so I researched Lincoln a little bit in Omaha. I said, oh, okay, this is a good one to take her to. And she liked it. She did really like it. It was a good experience for her. You know, it was a really good experience. Oh, poor areas or hood areas, as you call them. What hood areas? I can tell the hood areas. I drove through them because I go find them because I'm always curious. What's it look like here? What does their areas look like? Nothing like Indiana. Look more like working class areas. Just like normal people, working class areas. You see maybe a little bit more mental illness on the street, a little more, of course you can tell poverty, but it was nothing like a lot of places I've been to. Yeah. I hope this helps somebody. And I hope you're having a good day. This is Frugal Panda. Be blessed. Have a great day. Travel. That's what I'd love it, and I'm so glad I do. Was Lincoln, Nebraska worth visiting? Yes, it was. Have a good day.